We live in a world where identification has become our prison. From the moment we are born, we are told we are this body. Male or female, tall or short, beautiful or not, strong or weak. Then as we grow, the mind becomes another layer of identification, our name, our education, our thoughts, beliefs and memories. But these are just layers upon layers of experience. They are not you. The body is the vessel, the mind is the processor. But you are the energy that uses them, a vast presence that neither wrinkles with age nor breaks with bones. The body is an incredible mechanism, no doubt. But if you believe that's all you are, then life will be limited to survival and sensory pleasures. You'll seek happiness in food, clothing, comfort and touch. But what happens when the body changes? What happens when youth fades? If your identity is rooted in the body, then everything about you is perishable. The same goes for the mind. If your sense of self is based only on what you think or remember, then you're nothing more than a bundle of past impressions. And the past has no power unless you keep breathing life into it. When you say my body or my mind, you are clearly indicating ownership, that it is something you possess, not what you are. But in the rush of life, you forget this distinction. The body is yours to use, the mind is yours to shape, but your true essence lies in the awareness behind them. Behind them. That awareness has no shape, no boundary, no color, no memory. It cannot be touched by fire or water. It simply is, the one that witnesses thoughts but is not thought, the one that feels emotion but is not emotion. Once you understand that you are not the body or the mind, a vast freedom opens up within you. The fears that once gripped you, fear of death, aging, rejection or loss, begin to fall apart. You stop reacting to life like a wounded creature and start responding to it like a conscious being. You don't seek approval or cling to labels because you know that these labels can never define the immensity that you are. The need to prove yourself dissolves, and in that space, grace flows. This is not philosophy, this is the most basic spiritual truth. Until you experience the difference between the tools you use and the one who uses them, life will remain confusing and power will seem like a dream just out of reach. But the day you sit in stillness and witness your body and mind without identifying with them, a different dimension will begin to open. A silence so rich, a presence so vast, that even the stars will seem like sparks in the distance of your being. The mind is a magnificent instrument, capable of reasoning, creating, solving and imagining. It is one of the most sophisticated tools ever known, but like any tool, its value depends on how it is used. A sharp knife can prepare a beautiful meal or cause injury, depending on whose hand it is in. Same is true for the mind. When you use it consciously, it becomes a powerful ally. But when it operates on its own, without guidance or awareness, it can become a source of deep confusion and suffering. Faker. Most people live as if the mind is the master and they are its servant. The mind thinks a fearful thought and they tremble. It remembers a painful event and they suffer again. It imagines a future problem and they worry as if it's real. This happens because the mind is running without discipline, without intention, much like a wild horse pulling a cart in every direction. And if you are seated in that cart without holding the reins, your journey will be chaotic. You don't choose where you go, the mind decides, and you simply follow. This is not how it was meant to be. The mind was given to you as a support system, a means of navigation, not as your identity. Just as you have hands to grasp and legs to walk, you have a mind to process information and create meaning. But the mistake began when you forgot that you are not the mind. You are the awareness that uses the mind, not the mind itself. Without this understanding, the tool takes over the master's role, and the direction of your life is no longer yours to choose. The tragedy is that people praise the intellect without understanding its limitations. Mind can only function based on what it has gathered, past knowledge, memory, data. It cannot perceive the vastness of existence beyond that. It cannot touch love, joy or inner peace directly. It can only talk about them. So when the mind becomes your master, your life becomes restricted to the known, the calculable, the predictable. But true life, aliveness, lies beyond calculation. It lies in stillness, in intuition, in presence, qualities that the mind cannot grasp, only the being can. When you reclaim your place as the master, the mind settles into its natural position as a servant. You don't destroy it, you guide it. You use it when needed and set it aside when it's not. You allow thoughts to pass like tools laid out on a table, choosing the right one for the right task. In this way, the mind enhances your experience of life rather than distorting it. It becomes a doorway to expression and creativity, not a prison of compulsive thinking. It serves you instead of ruling over you. Power in today's world is often misunderstood. People associate it with control, the ability to bend others to your will, to make things happen, to be at the top. But such power is always built on fear, and what is built on fear is always fragile. Real power has nothing to do with dominance or manipulation. It doesn't come from suppressing others, but from expressing the deepest truth of who you are. True power is not about being above, it is about being aligned, like the sun that shines not to compete, but to illuminate. Domination creates resistance, conflict, and ultimately isolation. It may give you the illusion of strength, but it leaves you perpetually defensive, always guarding, always comparing, always fearing that someone stronger may appear. But when you are radiant, your power is effortless. It comes not from taking but from overflowing. It is not loud or aggressive, it is quiet, steady and undeniable. Just as a flower doesn't try to attract bees, it simply blooms, your radiance. When authentic draws people, opportunities and transformation naturally. Radiance is the result of inner alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, actions and energies flow in one direction, there is a harmony within you that begins to shine outward. You don't have to speak loudly. Your presence speaks. You don't have to assert yourself. Your stillness commands attention. This is why truly powerful beings do not need to boast or prove anything. Their clarity, their balance, and their depth do the speaking for them. They move through life untouched by chaos because they are anchored in something deeper than circumstance. While domination creates division, radiance dissolves boundaries. It uplifts others rather than suppressing them. A radiant being doesn't feel threatened by others' growth. They inspire it. Their power is inclusive, not exclusive, not exclusive. And that is why it is sustained. Domination might win battles, but radiance transforms lives. People may obey those who dominate, but they open their hearts to those who radiate truth. And when hearts open, real change begins, not through force, but through resonance. To become radiant, you don't need to add layers of identity or authority. You need to drop what is false, what is borrowed, what is insecure. The more authentic you become, the more your presence begins to glow. It's not about lighting a fire in others, it's about becoming the fire yourself. When you are connected to your source, you don't have to chase light, you become it. That is real power. It doesn't conquer the world, it transforms it simply by being. Much of what people do in this world is a constant polishing of their ego. Every action, the way they dress, speak, post on social media, or even walk into a room, is often an attempt to be seen in a certain light. The ego craves attention, praise, recognition, and control. It constantly whispers, make them admire you, make them fear you, make them like you. But no matter how much you polish it, the ego remains a fragile illusion. It is a mask, a constantly shifting idea of who you think you are or who you want the world to believe you are. The tragedy is that while you are busy refining this illusion, the real you, the boundless, silent, radiant self, remains unexplored. The ego is loud and needy, but the self is subtle and profound. You don't need to decorate your existence with borrowed ornaments of pride or personality. You need to strip away what is false. Realization is not an achievement, it is a revelation. It is not about adding something to who you are, but dropping everything that you are not. When you stop polishing the ego, You allow the mirror of your being to reflect the truth. The ego thrives on separation. Me, we, a see you, us, them, but the self knows no such boundary. It sees the same life in a tree, a stranger, a star or a cell. It doesn't need validation because it doesn't feel separate. The self doesn't seek to be better than anyone. It only longs to know deeply. When you're trapped in ego, even success feels hollow because it's never enough. When you live from the self, even silence feels full because there is nothing to prove, nothing to perform, just pure presence. People fear letting go of their ego because they think it is their identity, their strength, their personality. But the truth is, the ego is just a survival tool. It helps you navigate the outer world, but it cannot take you inward. It is like using a knife to dig a well. It's the wrong tool. The more you polish the ego, the more rigid and reactive you become. But the more you realize the self, the more open and effortless life becomes. You respond to life from depth, not defense. You create from inspiration, not insecurity. This is the shift that changes everything. Moving from ego to self is not about becoming humble or spiritual in appearance. It is about waking up to what is already alive in you. The self needs no title, no praise, no spotlight. It is like the sun. It doesn't try to shine, it just does. And in its presence, everything else becomes visible. When you stop investing in the smallness of the ego and begin turning inward, something ancient and infinite begins to rise within you. Look up at the night sky and see the vastness of the stars, the quiet elegance of the moon, and the endless space that holds it all. That same intelligence that formed galaxies, that spins planets without colliding, that breathes life into oceans and forests, it is not separate from you. It is the very force that brought you into existence. Your body may seem small, your concerns may feel personal, but you are not a disconnected fragment. You are an expression of the same cosmic intelligence that governs the universe. Modern society has disconnected man from nature, from the stars, and from the source. You've been taught to think in terms of survival, competition, and individuality, as though you are here by chance, just another creature fighting for space. But this is a shallow perception. The truth is, you are the cosmos becoming conscious of itself. The atoms in your body were forged in the heart of ancient stars. You are not from the earth. You are made of it. You are not in the universe. You are the universe in human form. This realization is not a poetic idea. It is a lived experience when you quiet your mind and touch the stillness within. In moments of deep silence or awe, you may have felt it. That sense that something bigger is breathing through you, watching through your eyes, loving through your eyes, loving through your heart. That is not fantasy. That is your truth. But the noise of everyday life, the attachments to identity, and the habits of thought make you forget. And in forgetting your origin, you begin to live as though you are small, helpless, and separate. When you remember that you are born of the same source as all life, a different kind of power awakens within you. Not a power to dominate, but a power to align, to flow with the same intelligence that orchestrates creation. You no longer feel lost or incomplete because you sense that you belong. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to express the infinite in your own unique way. A tree doesn't try to be a mountain, a river doesn't try to be the sky. They simply are. And in that being they are perfect. So you, the stars, do not ask for permission to shine. The moon does not need applause to glow. And you, born of the same vast source, do not need to shrink to fit the mold of the world. Your existence is already a miracle. You are not separate from divinity. You are its unfolding. When you stop seeing yourself as just a body or a role and start seeing yourself as a living drop of the eternal, everything shifts, your fears lessen, your joy deepens, and your actions begin to reflect the infinite that lives within. In today's world, silence is often mistaken for weakness or emptiness. We are conditioned to fill every moment with noise, talking, scrolling, reacting, planning. People fear silence because it confronts them with themselves. selves. Yet, silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of stillness. It is the space where all life arises. It is the womb of the universe. All things come from silence, and all things return to it. To access the deeper layers of your being, you must enter this space, not with force, but with surrender. When you become truly silent, not just externally, but within yourself, you will realize that silence is not deadness, it is intensity. It is aliveness without noise, without noise. Your body may be still, but your awareness becomes sharp like a blade. This is where insight, clarity, and intuition begin to flow. Not from thinking harder, but from tuning in to a deeper rhythm. The greatest scientists, artists, sages, they all speak of moments when everything went quiet within and something vast opened. That's not coincidence. That's the power of inner silence. Silence is where the mind loses its grip and the soul begins to speak. In noise, you can only repeat what you've heard. In silence, you hear what has never been said. It is a dimension beyond intellect, beyond logic, a place where knowing arises without thought. But this silence cannot be manufactured. It cannot be forced. It happens when you become willing to just be, without reacting, without analyzing, without performing. In that surrender, silence begins to grow, and with it comes a power that doesn't shout, it simply transforms. Most people seek power in control, influence, or knowledge. But these are limited forms of power. They rise and fall, come and go. The power of silence is different. It is stable, effortless, and limitless. It doesn't depend on external conditions. It doesn't get exhausted. It doesn't need permission. When you are rooted in silence, you cannot be manipulated, because you are no longer reacting to the surface of life. You begin to operate from the center of existence itself, calm, present, and unshakable. This is why true masters, awakened beings, or those deeply connected to their source, speak so little, and yet their presence changes lives. It's not because of the words they say, but because of the silence they embody. That silence is not empty, it is full of energy, presence, and truth. When you cultivate this space within you, even your glance can heal, your stillness can teach, and your breath can carry wisdom. In silence, you stop trying to become something, and in doing so, you touch what you have always been. From the moment you are born, society begins shaping your identity. You are given a name, a language, a religion, a nationality, and a framework of right and wrong, all before you are even capable of asking a question. Slowly, layer by layer, your identity is built by culture, not by consciousness. You are trained to conform, to belong, to survive within the limits of social approval. But what is accepted by culture is often a cage for the soul. Culture is necessary for survival, but it is not the measure of who you are. Your potential is not rooted in the limitations of your surroundings, it is rooted in the vastness of your being. Culture tells you to aim for success as defined by others, to get good grades, a respected job, a certain lifestyle, and public validation. But even if you win at that game, a silent emptiness often remains, because deep down, something within you knows, I am meant for more. Not more money, not more titles, but more life, more depth, more truth. You are not here just repeat what generations before you did. You are not a copy. You are an original piece of the cosmos, and your potential is not inherited from society. It comes from the very source of creation itself. The universe did not create you with such intricacy for you to merely follow a script. Every leaf, every star, every drop of life is a unique expression of the same infinite intelligence. So are you. You are not a random being, you are not a mistake. You are not a result of culture, you are a spark of the cosmos. And your potential is not measured by what others think you can do. It is measured by how willing you are to go beyond what you've been told is possible. You are not born to fit in, you are born to expand. When you begin to drop the cultural masks and listen to your inner life, your intuition, your energy, your longing, you will sense something wild and uncontainable within you. That wildness is not chaos. It is the pulse of the cosmos beating inside you. It seeks to express, to create, transform. And it doesn't care about the approval of society. It cares about truth.